7 years after Adaze defeated the thing inside her womb, it came back. And this time, it did not come for her, it came for her son. But what would you do if the child you fought to protect, the child you almost died for, looked you dead in the eyes one night and said, "Mama, something is hungry inside me"? What would you do if you realized the battle was never over? Every parent believes that once they protect their child from darkness, the darkness moves on. But the oldest evil in the world does not move on. It waits, it is patient, and it always comes back for what it was denied. By the end of this story, you will understand that some battles do not end at birth. And you will feel something far worse than fear. You will feel the horror of realizing you were never truly safe. Welcome back to Gotti's Folktale Lessons. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now. And if you watched part 1, you already know. This one goes deeper. Kofi was 7 years old when he stopped eating. Not slowly, not like a sick child losing appetite. He stopped all at once. On a Tuesday morning, he pushed his plate away, looked at his mother with eyes that were suddenly very old, and said quietly, "The food outside is not what I need." Adi's blood turned to ice. She recognized those words. Not because Kofi had ever said them before, but because 7 years ago, in the darkest hour of her pregnancy, something deep inside her womb had whispered almost the exact same thing. "Just a little more, just a little more." She grabbed Kofi by the shoulders. "Who taught you to say that?" Kofi tilted his head slowly, the way a bird does when it hears an unfamiliar sound. "Nobody taught me, Mama," he said softly. "I just remembered." Emeka told her she was overreacting. "He is a child," he said firmly. "Children say strange things." But that night Adaze sat outside Kofi's door and listened. And at exactly midnight she heard it again. That sound, low, wet, rhythmic, chewing. She went to Mama Chidinma at dawn. But the old woman's house was dark and the door was slightly open. Adaze pushed it wide and stepped inside. The wooden chest in the corner, the one that held the brown bundle, was open, empty. On the floor beside it, written in what looked like ash, were 3 words. "It found him." Adaze ran. She did not go back home. Not yet. She ran to the edge of the village where old Baba Soon lived alone in a house that leaned to one side like it was always listening. Baba Soon was 103 years old, some said older. He had no teeth and both his eyes were completely white. But he heard everything, and he knew things that had no name. Adaze burst through his door gasping. He was already sitting up. Already waiting. "I know why you came," he said before she could speak. His voice was like dry leaves crushed underfoot. "Sit down." She sat. "The thing that lived inside you," he began slowly, "was not a demon. Not a spirit. Not a ghost." He paused and folded his thin hands together. "It was a hunger, the oldest kind, before language, before fire. Before the first mother ever held the first child." He looked at her with his white eyes. "You did not destroy it 7 years ago. You only interrupted its meal. My son," Adaze whispered. "It is inside my son now. It has been inside your son since the day he was born," Baba Soon said quietly, "sleeping, waiting for him to grow strong enough to be worth eating." The room felt like it was shrinking. "How do I stop it?" she asked. Baba Soon was quiet for a long time. So long that Adaze thought he had fallen asleep. Then he said, "You cannot stop it the same way twice. It learned from you. It studied you for 7 years through your son's eyes." He reached into the folds of his robe and pulled out something small. A single black seed. He placed it on the table between them. "This time you cannot fight it from the outside. This time someone must go in." "Go in?" Adaze stared at him. "Go in where?" Baba Soon looked at her steadily. "Into the hunger itself. If your heart is pounding right now, you are not alone." This is Gotti's Folktale Lessons, where we go where other channels are afraid to go. Subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss a single story. Now back to Adaze, because it is about to get much darker. She returned home just before sunrise. Kofi was sitting at the kitchen table, still, hands flat on the surface, eyes open but completely empty, like to dark holes leading nowhere. He did not look up when she entered. Adaze sat across from him. She placed the black seed on the table, between them just as Baba Soon had shown her. Then she did something that took every ounce of courage she had ever owned. She reached across the table and took her son's cold hand. And she closed her eyes. The darkness came immediately. Not the darkness of a closed room or a moonless night. This was a living darkness, A darkness with texture and smell, wet soil and something older, something that had never seen sunlight. And in the middle of that darkness Adaze saw it for the first time. The hunger, it had no real shape. It was large and small at the same time. It shifted constantly like smoke that could not decide what it wanted to be, but it had a mouth, that much was clear. A mouth that was always open, always moving. And it was feeding on something bright, on something small and fierce and fighting. On Kofi, stop, Adiv's voice tore through the darkness like a blade. The hunger turned, and for the first time in 7 years Adaze felt it recognize her. Felt the weight of its full attention land on her like a stone. You again, it said, and this time there was no sadness in its voice. No gentleness, only fury. You dare come here, into my place? I am his mother, Adaze said. Her voice did not shake. There is no place you can take him that I will not follow. The darkness tightened around her. The hunger moved closer, massive and furious and ancient. But Adaze squeezed her son's hand harder. And deep in her palm she felt the black seed grow warm. Then hot, then blazing, like holding a piece of the sun. The hunger screamed, not a sound, a feeling. A tearing wrongness that shook the darkness from the inside out. It pulled back, it twisted. It tried to hold on to Kofi with everything it had. But a mother's grip is the oldest force in the world. Older than hunger, older than darkness. Older than the thing that had no name, Adaze pulled. She woke up on the kitchen floor with Kofi crying in her arms. Real crying, loud and messy and completely human. Emeka stood over them both, terrified, not understanding a single thing he was seeing, but Adaze understood. She held her son tight and did not let go until the sun was fully up and the birds were loud and the smell of morning had chased every shadow from the room. Kofi ate 3 bowls of food that morning. He said he was so hungry he could eat the whole world. Adaze laughed until she cried. That evening she went back to Mama Chidinma's house. This time the door was closed. And when she knocked, the old woman answered, tired but standing, a small knowing smile on her face. You went in, Mama Chidinma said. I went in, Adaze confirmed. The old woman nodded slowly. Then it is finished, is it? Adaze asked. Mama Chidinma looked at her for a long time. Then she glanced past her, toward the road, toward the village, toward the 1,000 ordinary homes where mothers rocked babies to sleep right now without knowing what she knew. For you, she said carefully. Yes. She began to close the door. For everyone else, she did not finish the sentence. She did not need to. The oldest hungers do not die. They simply find a new door. Thank you for watching Gadi's Folktale Lessons. If part 2 hit harder than part 1, share this with someone right now, let them feel it too, and subscribe because part 3 is coming, and what happens next will make everything you just watched feel like just the beginning. You have been warned.